Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another edition of Nuts and Bolts Skills Training. This is run every single Wednesday, same time, same place, same link to support you in your journey of entrepreneurship in the direct selling space. So if you are one of the top few, if you like, I call them the top 1% of the population that steps into your greatness, into leadership, into influencing, making a difference, contributing, doing more than most people do, ultimately, then welcome. That's what this is all about. Every week we get together and I'll share my part of the journey. But we also, one of my favorite parts is the second half where we hear from people and, the contribution that everybody gives. So I want to turn it up a little bit, something a little bit unique today. I want to do a semi-interactive Zoom today. So I'm going to invite you, the participants, the audience, to engage in what are the real life, real-time challenges that you face and are stopping you or getting in the way of you taking it up a notch, taking it to the next level. What is it that you're fighting with, struggling with? What are the roadblocks that we need to kick down for you? So I want to open it up for you to explore a conversation, if you like, and together we can see if we can find some different angles and some solutions to whatever it is that might be getting in the way of you taking that next step, whether it's picking up the phone and speaking to somebody, or following up with somebody, or reaching out to somebody in the team that's already a part of the team but not active, whatever it might be. There's going to be different areas, inviting people. What is it that stops you? Where is your roadblock? Let's have a look at that side of the fence today, because I think that's what is going to really help right now. So who would like to go first? Who's ready to own up to the flaws of each and every one of us? We all have them, the flaws that stop us from being the best version of ourselves. John, well done, buddy. Thank you for coming on today. Please go ahead and unmute yourself.
It's my pleasure, Kalpesh. Thank you for taking the time to have this training this evening. I'm really busy on the sort of offline world due to what I do, but I'm glad I had the opportunity here to pop on and have this interactive event with yourself and all the amazing other members of the community.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for stepping up and going first. So if we were to explore, there's loads of stuff that you do that works, but if there was a sticky point somewhere we sometimes get caught out, what would that be?
For me personally, it is, you know what to do, you know that you should be doing it, and you do it now and again, but not consistently.
Very good. Yeah, cool. I can definitely relate to that. So lack of consistency. And I say I can relate to it because we all go through it as professionals in any area. There are times when we're at our best and there are times when we're not at our best. And it's interesting always to study what's the difference. So oftentimes when I'm watching videos on people that have been extraordinarily successful, and they'll talk about this often, everybody goes through that mental block, I guess, of not wanting to do the practice. I call it the practice work, that consistency. So we've all heard it. David Beckham bends it like Beckham 1,000 times off the pitch, if you like. When there's not a match, he does it 1,000 times off of a match time to do it once in a match. It's kind of that thing, right? And Michael Jordan will throw the ball at a certain distance 1,000 times to be able to do it once in a match. And it's kind of that, the result is the once in a match. Like when you rank up, when you hit a certain target, when you do something really, really to be proud of. But to get there is doing the mundane when nobody's watching, nobody's looking, and you got to get up and do it again. And nobody would know if you didn't do it. That's the thing. Nobody would know if you didn't do it. So there's a level of accountability there. So holding yourself accountable, Are you with me?
Mhm.
How do you do that? That's one of the things that we're solving. How do you structure your day so that you can hold yourself accountable? Because it's easy not to do that. And we'll find loads of great reasons not to. And sometimes it's deserved. Oftentimes it's not. So, you know, if it's deserved, great. I think everybody should take time off when it's deserved and you've thrown the hoop in game time. You know, if you're, you know, or scored in the back of the net during a game, then you deserve a celebration. But if you're not putting the ball in the back of the net, i.e. you're not scoring, if you're not putting, you know, money in your bank, if you're not able to sponsor new people consistently, if you're not growing your team numbers consistently, if your sales volume is not going up regularly, then you don't have time to sit back, put your feet up and smoke your favorite cigar or whatever it is that you might be doing. So one of the things that, well, before I share what some of the solutions are that I've come across, how about you tell me, John, what have you, so if you identify that as the sticky point, what have you done, if anything, to overcome that, you know, along the way?
Well, personally, awareness.
Mhm.
You know, aware, obviously, that it's happening, that it needs to be addressed. Self-talk. When I feel myself emotionally drifting off somewhere, it's because of my internal dialogue. So I need to address that as well. And it's really just sort of getting to that point where you're consistent enough to get into flow. And then you kind of sort of, it's also a version of meditation when you're focused on one thing and you block out all distractions, you get into the flow and you do what needs to be done. But it's just getting to that point and staying consistent. And then, you know, just getting the results and getting into the habit of doing those, as you said, mundane things over and over and over again.
Yeah, brilliant. So getting into the zone. So you do that? You meditate and get yourself into a focused space and then attack the task at hand? Like, what's your process?
I do that, but I find myself getting distracted.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I've started doing things like closing all these windows, you know, getting rid of my phone. I'm not 1 foot, but I do find myself drifting off to things that, and I know I'm doing it. That's a good thing. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
a good thing that I'm doing it, but I am aware that I'm doing it and I'm
Yeah.
addressing it sort of bit for bit to
Brilliant.
get to that place where
Right.
it no longer is, you know,
Not the
a
way.
sort of topic of conversation.
Brilliant. So good. A couple of things that are there. First of all, awareness is great. We have to be aware of our operating methods. Yeah. What are the things that we're doing daily that work, and what are the things we're doing that don't? So once you're aware that you know what's distracting you, so you know your mobile phone, for example, you mentioned that your mobile phone can distract you. And in the world that we live in today, guess what? I would bet that of all the people on this call, 99% of us can relate to getting distracted by our mobile phone when we've decided this hour is for this, and suddenly ping or zzz or whatever version, the light, whatever it might be, suddenly gets us like a, you know, a Pavlov scenario. The phones are to humans what a bell is to a dog in Pavlov's theory, right? So it's the same thing. These little devices have gripped us to the extent, and I love the fact you said awareness. Most of us are not even aware to the extent that they've gripped us. And so we often are, if we're not aware, on there for ages at a time and not even realizing how long we've just spent on the device scrolling, not connecting, not communicating, not purposefully reaching out, but just scrolling and, you know, moving from one platform to another. It happens seamlessly now. Before you know it, you click on a link and you've moved from Facebook or LinkedIn, you've moved from an intentional space. You might start off with intention and suddenly something gets your attention. You click on it and you're on TikTok or you're on Instagram or you're watching a video or you're listening. You know, you get thrown off so easily these days. So a couple of things. Set short alarms. So every 15 minutes, disturb yourself. So don't measure yourself hourly or 2 hourly or afternoon. Don't split your day in two, like morning and afternoon, and measure yourself just twice a day, because then it's too late. You've lost all of the hours. So measuring your productivity, your effectiveness, your focus, your intent, measuring it often. And in the beginning, I say every 15 minutes, just have your alarm go ping and then check. Did I stay focused for 15 minutes? So did that ping, you create your own disturbance, right? So now rather than being a distraction, it becomes a support mechanism. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So you've changed your relationship now to that ping not being one of, oh, that's time for me to get on the phone, but one of, hold on, did I manage to stay off the phone for 15 minutes and do what I said I was going to do? Or it might be half an hour, depending on the task at hand, right? So if it's a half an hour task, after half an hour, have an alarm go off. So, you know that, hold on, did I do what I said solidly for that half an hour? What's beautiful about this is, and especially in direct sales, we don't have 3-hour tasks. So if I think of the corporate world or the traditional business world where somebody's working for hours, they have tasks that take hours. The beautiful thing about our business, our tasks, most of the time, at a stretch, might be 1 hour tops. 1 hour would be if you've managed to get an appointment with somebody in your diary and you're doing a one-on-one presentation with them with questions and answers. That would be that's about the most we would need to complete a task, is about an hour at best. That's when we're doing income producing activity at the peak. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So we'll never need more than an hour to do anything. If we're training a new member, we never need more than an hour. If you're training your top leaders, you'll never need more than an hour. If you're doing a nuts and bolts, you'll never need more than an hour. If you're doing a full presentation to a brand new guest, you'll never, that's the maximum time you should be spending. Any more than that, and you are now moving into waffle or wasting time or unproductive time. There will be the very rare occasion, but generally speaking, as you're building your network, 1 hour is the most you'll ever spend. So you never have an alarm longer than an hour. You question yourself if you're not doing at least an hourly check. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, sure.
And then, of course, you've got the, right, I'm going to do 10 calls in the next 15 minutes or 5 calls in the next 15 minutes or whatever your pace of call is. You might have an average of 2 minutes a call, 3 minutes a call. Again, depending on the nature of the call and how it goes, right? So that, again, you chunk it into, the smaller the chunk of measurement, the more productive you'll be. It's easier to say, right, in this 15 minutes, I'm going to make at least 3 calls. If you're a little bit of a talker, if you're able to get past that and get more intentional in your conversation, you might say in these 15 minutes and flex your muscles. You might find that you're taking 15 minutes to do 3. Then tomorrow, set a task. I'm going to have 4 phone calls in 15 minutes and do that a couple of times. And then a few days later, I wonder if I can get 5 calls into 15 minutes. So what you're doing is you're not trading time, you're improving efficiency so that you still own your time. Your 15 minutes is still all it takes, but get more done in less time is the name of the game. The beauty of this industry is that you can actually do that. You can have, if you really want, play the game. If you really want to do that, break all of your records. Like say, you know what? I'm going to do 7 calls in 15 minutes. Like keep pushing the boundary. 2 minutes a call, tops, bang, get them out. Number one, you'll feel super proud. But if you do it, you've done, know this, if you do 7 calls in 15 minutes, you've made more phone calls in 15 minutes than most people will make in an entire day. Have the day off. Can you see? That's where you start earning your time. Does that make sense?
Well, it does actually, because just based on what you've just said there, I've noticed I was just sort of playing that back in sort of real time. And, it makes absolute sense. But what I've been doing is I've been looking at a bigger space of time. And you sort of become overwhelmed because you're thinking, well, where do I start? You're not on it, getting in the zone sort of thing. You've got all this time. So you tend to it's the, what's the name of it? There's a law for that, putting activities into time or time into activities. It's I can't remember the name of it.
You'll feel the time anyway, right?
Yeah, there is a law for that. But what you've just said there makes absolute sense. I mean, also they're breaking it down into small chunks. Say, okay, I'll give myself, 15, 20 minutes, and I'll pack this into that time.
Yeah.
And I think personally, you probably get into the flow a lot quicker because you're on it.
Yeah. So many things happen when you do that. That's one of the things that happens immediately is that because you've only got this much time to do it, and you're kind of playing a game, right? You're setting the clock against yourself kind of thing. So you're like, okay, I've got this much time to get it done. Distractions don't have time when we're busy. Distractions get us when we're not busy. So if you've got an hour to do it, it's very easy to pick up the phone because you know you've got the luxury of time. You've given yourself an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours to do something. Then it's very easy to pick up the phone and scroll. You don't feel guilty because you think you've got all the time in the world. Before you know it, the time's gone and you've done everything but the task. Oh, I've got an hour. Let me go make a cup of coffee. When you've got 15 minutes, you haven't got time to make a cup of coffee. You haven't got time to have a biscuit. You haven't got time to, it's done. It's 15 minutes, and just training yourself, that's discipline. So distraction, you can handle 15 minutes without distraction. Does that make sense?
It definitely does make sense.
Yeah. So you kind of compress what you would have done in an hour, you compress it into 20 minutes, and then you don't want, you can be distracted for 40 minutes. But what we do is if you have an hour, you're distracted, not for 40 minutes, you're distracted for most of the hour because, naturally we're resisting doing what needs to be done.
I can resonate with that.
Yeah. Brian Tracy talks about eating the frog first. And that's like, who wants to eat the frog? Nobody, but get it done. Get what needs to be done early. And he also talks about taking the biggest task of the day on and don't do anything. Don't get focus on nothing but that until it's done. And then look at number 2 and see how important or urgent it is. So you reward yourself based on how productive you've been, not the other way around. You're not just trying to fit stuff into okay, I've got to do 8 hours today. No, I want to get it done in an hour. I want 7 hours off. Cool. And then if you decide, what happens is when you get it done in an hour, you can have 7 hours off, but guess what? It tastes good when you dominate the day. It tastes really amazing. The frog tastes awesome, even though the idea of the frog might not taste awesome. Once you've taken on the biggest task of the day and got it done, you actually feel so good. You're like, I'm in the zone now. You talk about the zone. Yeah. Now you've got into the zone. You're like, right, what else can I crush now that I'm in the zone? You don't want, okay, now I'm in it. Now I got it. You've shifted gears in your mind. Cool. The other thing that really works is really, really powerful is buddying up with somebody. Do it together. We're all in the same industry. We're all trying to get the same outcome at the end of the day, which is results. Buddy up. Find people that are as committed, focused, and serious as you are about progress, and do it together. Schedule it. Say, hey, listen, tomorrow, let's schedule an hour tomorrow where we'll do 2 20-minute slots or 2 30-minute slots in the day. 3 20-minute slots, 2 30-minute slots, whatever it might be. When's good for you tomorrow? Let's just jump on, do the work together. So you hold each other account, call each other, say, right, I'll call you in 20 minutes. Get off. Now you know that you're going to call in 20 minutes and report to somebody. It's not a boss, but we feel proud when we get something done. We feel proud to pick up the phone and say, hey, guess what? Yeah, I said 7, I did 6, but you know what? Flipping out is awesome. Make sense? So that's another very powerful tool because as entrepreneurs, we're alone a lot of the time, and the more gamified you can make it, the more fun you can make it, and you can add those little bit of pats on the back. Your friend gives you a high five on the phone as well. Well done. Congratulations, getting it done, John. You were more successful than me. I only got 4, but you know what? It's 4 more than I would have done if we hadn't have had this structure in place. So it's not about beating each other up. It's not about giving each other a hard time. It literally is a celebration buddy that you can communicate with that's also on the same journey. So you've got something in common and you're pushing each other. So, if you got 6 and they got 4, you can say, hey, so, what could you have done better instead of 4, if you could have done 5? Did you see anything you could have done? Could you cut some calls short? Did you waffle on a bit on some of the calls, or was that not the case? You were as effective as you could have been, just so that they can get feedback and suddenly everybody's learning. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does.
Awesome. Good. I hope that helps.
Absolutely. It's only page and a half of notes, so
love it.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you for sharing. Who else? Who'd like to take on an area where we get sometimes tripped up? And don't be shy here. Here's what I can guarantee you 100%. There's at least one other person on this call, and I'm being really, really one other. It's going to be at least half the call, but there's at least somebody else that when you share, they're going to relate to what you're saying, and you'll be solving something not just for you. You're always solving something for somebody else as well. And again, these conversations are not easy because we don't want to talk about the stuff that we're not doing. It's very easy to talk about what we are doing, very easy to talk about the celebrations and the wins, of course. It's very, very confrontational to look at what we're not doing as well as we could, what we're not doing that we know we could do better. Hey, Russ, how you doing, buddy? Go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Kalpesh.
Hey.
I figured I'd take the challenge and step up to the plate here. And even though I'm a pretty much brand new guy, I might as well tell you what I've been challenged with. Aside from not having internet at my house, borrowing a friend's internet in his restaurant right now.
Wow,
So,
look at that. Love it. Solution.
Yes.
Well done.
I like what you said about eating the frog. By the way, I've heard that expression before. I forgot it was from Brian Tracy, but yeah, I like that. That really resonates well with me.
Yeah.
But so what I'm challenged with right now is,
yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead. A little bit choppy, but we're good. Go for it.
Okay, my apologies, internet.
It's okay.
So my challenge is just getting through the setting up my success calendar. I've just about got that completed 100%.
Very good.
Another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to be moving into the 15-day challenge and the social media training, because I want to start doing exactly what Tom teaches in Brilliant. The 15-day challenge and the social media training. So that's where I want to start. So that's my goal right now. That's my aim, and that's what I'm working towards.
Okay, good.
So that's been a challenge, though, because you got to watch the video, pause it, and then start to implement things bit by bit.
Yep. So when you say what is a challenge for you in that, what do you find challenging?
Sorry, Kalpesh, it's a bad connection. I'll catch up with you another time.
Well, yeah, we can do that. I was just asking a question of which part of that is challenging for you. So you said, right, this is what I'm going to do. Where do you get challenged?
I think what the challenging part is just putting it all together. So just taking the time to piece it together bit by bit, follow the,
Brilliant.
So what's nice though, like what I'll say is that Tom puts it together. He puts it together like paint by numbers. So that's the great part about how Tom teaches.
Yes. So good. So continue taking those steps. And one of the things that, and it's just coming up as maybe relevant to you as well. You're new to the industry. You're new to the space you've just decided to embark on. One of the things as well and it's a fine line. The more knowledge and understanding you have, the more confident you'll be doing what you need to do. And at the same time, we have a very powerful phrase in this industry that ignorance on fire is always better than knowledge on ice. And so it is a very fine line, getting caught up in thinking you need to know everything to do something versus just doing it. And if we talk about just doing it, imagine that there wasn't a structure of training available to you. Imagine there wasn't a paint by numbers, step-by-step structure for you. Then what do you do? And here's what you do. Here's what every single successful entrepreneur will tell you is you just do it. In fact, you've inspired me to, Sue, if you can you just find that video by Art Williams, and I'm going to play that. You'll see exactly what I mean. And that this is, one is over a long period of time. So zooming out, long term, absolutely, you want to be the most skilled, knowledgeable, on it leader for sure. But when you're new, none of that matters. You can have no skills, no knowledge, and still be tearing it up, building up just with enthusiasm and excitement alone. All right. And it's the scariest thing if you're not that kind of personality to bring that out. Most people are not naturally enthusiastic. They're not naturally, on fire, buzzing, making it happen. That's not most people's personality. And so everyone can do this, but very few do. And we all do it at certain points in our life. If we look at our life, again, zoom out in your life, there will be moments and times when you are very engaged and naturally enthusiastic and excited and, bubbly and attractive to others to engage with. But it might not just be something you can turn on and off. It happens because of external events, right? If you can learn how to bring that side of you out, guess what? In this business, it works heaps, because your excitement and your enthusiasm, it is contagious. It gets other people excited and enthusiastic. And then luckily, the presentation does all the hard work for you. So just, if you always remember that, that's why we say that the invitation should be short, 1 minute, 2 minutes tops. Lots of enthusiasm, lots of excitement, no information, just build up curiosity and say, listen, just get yourself to the Zoom. You'll see why I'm so excited. And if you do that enough times, guess what? It's a matter of time before people start showing up on the Zooms and your cogs are turning, the wheels are in motion. So thank you for that. Sue, did you manage to get that video up?
Yeah, ready.
Wonderful. Yeah, let's just play it for the audience so you can see exactly the point that I was making.
Will to win is everything. I don't know why I'm like I am, but my butt's always burning. Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to go for it. Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to be somebody. You're supposed to make a difference with your life. What does the $500,000 a year person do? The $50,000 a year person doesn't do. You look at the outside and study those two individuals, everything seems to be the same. They both are the same sex, they both are the same age, they have the same training, the same positions, the same contract, the same fringe benefits. They both are successful, they work hard, they're good family people, make tough commitments. But what's the difference? What does the $500,000 a year person do? The $50,000 a year person doesn't do. He pays the price and a little bit more. He works hard and a little bit more. He's loyal to the company and a little bit more. He believes in a little bit more. He makes money and a little bit more. He saves money and a little bit more. If you want to win in these United States, you got to be tough and you can't quit. The last thing I'll talk to you about today in building this winning edge is, folks, if you want to win in business, you got to be a leader. Leadership is everything. You show me anything in these United States that win, I'll show you a leader at work. You show me a successful church, Boy Scout troop, club, football team, business, I'll show you something run by a leader. See, I thought at one time in my life you had to be smart to win. I used to have these smart people that dress so pretty and talk so pretty and use these big words. They just intimidated me. And I said, Art, you can't ever be that good. Why don't you just throw in the towel and go back and coach football for a living? And I found two things out about smart people. I think it's almost impossible for a smart person to win in business in America today. Because I find smart people spend their whole lifetime figuring things out. They're always trying to figure out an easier way and a quicker way. And another thing I found out about smart people is they just don't get around to doing nothing. And see, somebody like Art Williams, everybody said, well, he can't do it. And somebody like that can't do it. But he does it. See, folks, I want you to know almost everybody in America almost does enough to win. They almost get there. They almost are over the hump. They almost have it going. They almost in everything they do, almost is a way of life to almost everybody in America. But the winners do it. What do? They do whatever it takes to get the job done. They do it and do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to be somebody they're proud of. We need leaders in America who can do it. If you want to become somebody, do it. If you want to go in business for yourself, do it. If you want to become financially independent, do it. I hear too much talk in these United States. Everybody can talk a good game. We need people in America who can do it. I go all over this country with A.L. Williams, and I have people say, Art, you can count on me. Wonderful. Just do it. Art, I guarantee you this is my last stop. I'm going to win now. Super duper. Just do it. Art, if I could just have one good month and get the ball going, I know I could make it big. Super. Just do it. Art, if I could just pay off this debt, I could really go. Great. Just do it. Art, if I could just sell my house. Do it. But houses ain't selling. Do it anyway. Art, I'm not making any money. What can I do? You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it and do it and do it. Art, I guarantee I'm going to win this contest. Super duper. Just do it. Art, I'm over the hump now. Watch my smoke. Great. Just do it. Art, I want to make it so bad I can taste it. What I do, you just do it. Art, I'm a vice president now. Can I quit doing it? No. Art, I don't know if I can keep on keeping on. I'm really hurting. What I do, you just do it. Do what, Art? You do it and do it and do it. Art, all my life I wanted to be somebody important. Well, what do it then? Art, I'm going to save money so I don't have to go through this again. Great. Just do it. Art, I don't feel like I've had enough training. What I do, you just do it. Art, my manager don't give me no help. What I do, you just do it. Art, you don't understand. I was Mr. Everything at my former company. You don't mean I have to start off down at the bottom and do it, do you? Yep, you really got to do it. Art, what's the primary difference between winners and losers? The winners do it. They do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to finally have achieved something unique, and how glad they are that they didn't quit like everybody else, and how wonderful it is to finally be somebody they're proud of and make a difference with their life. Thank you.
Boom. There you go. That is one of my all-time favorite short clips. 5 minutes of absolute gems. And if you're ever feeling a little bit low on energy or doubtful or beaten up or worn out, bang, grab that video. It is a real gem, right? So Art Williams, who is creator of $1 billion company from zero in the USA in network marketing, and absolute gem of a seminar that he gave there. Art Woodley, hi, how are you, my friend?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good.
Wonderful.
Yes,
wonderful.
that's an amazing amazing time as usual. So
Yes.
I thank you for this time out, to guide us, especially people like us that want to learn. Yes, I won't lie to you. The other time, one of the sessions, you made us to know that you just have to, turn up, show up. Yes, because it's when you show up, you learn. Yes, and and since I started showing up, I know I'm well guided. Because most of the things that used to be my troubles, I see the solution here. Yes, the other time I used to be very, very bothered about what people are thinking. Yes, I want to do this when I say, oh, people might be thinking that, oh, why is it that I've not even been successful since all this, as in, has it I've not, done a lot of great things for them to see that crypto or what I'm doing is working, and I'll be slowing down about what people are thinking. It's still in these few minutes that I learned that, oh, that they are not part of my vision. I should just, be doing it as I'm hearing now again. Yes, I should just be doing it till it's done.
Yeah, there is so much wisdom in that message.
And I thank God for that motivation. And yes. And the other time too, I think the last presentation, you're like telling us that we should also improve our communication skills. Yes, that all the leaders in the world has wonderful and perfect communications. So I won't lie to you, that's why I'm speaking up today. So I can improve my own communication skills too. So I'm so happy because I'm now directed, and I'm very, very sure that's going to translate in my results. I'm just saying this to thank you for awesome mentorship. Yes, thank you, Kelfash. Yes.
Appreciate it. I love the fact, thank you, and I love the fact that you are embracing and taking on the lessons week by week. I know that you're improving your game, sharpening your skills.
Yeah, with my team, some of them. Yes.
Brilliant. I love it. I love watching that. So thank you for that. So look, again, you've seen that a short video like that really captures the essence of what we do. And for me, if you can let the simplicity, like we really make it more complicated than it is, let the simplicity of Art Williams's message get through to you. And that is just do it. It's either you just do it, or you find a million reasons why you didn't. That's all it is. You're either just doing it, no matter what, right? Guess what? The people that do it also have the same challenges. They get all the no's, they get rejection, they get laughed at, they get judged, they get tired, they get, everything, they get worn out. Everything that you think is unique to you is not. Everything you go through, they get scared, they get fearful, their throat goes dry in the middle of a conversation, they get sweaty palms, they break into a sweat. Every single person has all of the same things when they're starting out. But the difference is everybody begins the race with all of those, if you like, disabilities in the game, in the space, disadvantages. Everybody has that. And a handful break through it. And how do they break through it? Repetition, doing it badly, doing it really horribly, making a mess of it, but learning from that, not being scared to mess it up, but learning from any messes that they make, and then they improve. That's all it ever is. Giving yourself an edge. That's how you get the edge. How you get the edge is not by being Superman. Sometimes that's how we have it in our head. Oh, I'm only human. How many times do I hear that? I'm only human. Or you just listen out to your self-talk. Or even in your team, listen out to what people are saying. There's only so many hours in the day. I'm tired after work. My kids needed me. This show was on. Whatever it is, it's just all the same. It's all the same. Just get that. Because every person that you see at the peak of the game, every Superman or Superwoman you see at the peak of their game also had their version of that. But they did it anyway. They did it and they did it and they did it again and they did it again the next day and the next day and the next day and on the weekends and again on the next day and again they just kept on doing it. And there's magic in that because it is not about doing it like it's not a full-time thing. It's full-time in here. It means that you're doing it while you're at work, right? If you've got a full-time job, mentally, you're dreaming about the results you're producing. Mentally, you're doing it all the time. And then guess what happens when you're at work? In your lunch break, in your coffee break, whatever it is, you will bump into people, you will meet new people, or you go on social media and instead of just being on social media for the sake of it, you'll be there with an intention. Right, I've got an hour for lunch. Let me eat my food in half an hour and let me spend the other half an hour connecting with 5 new people, saying, hi, how are we doing? What are you up to? Let's have a call next week. I've got something exciting I want to share with you. Whatever little activity it might be. And if you do enough of that every day, guess what? It has to turn into results because numbers never lie and they're always on your side. Just to understand that the numbers are always on your side. If you send out, and I'll break it down to a really small number. If you send out 3 messages a day, hi, how are you? Hope everything's going good. Listen, I've seen something really incredible. I'd love to grab 15, 20 minutes of your time sometime on a Zoom and chat to you about it. Maybe there's some synergy. Maybe we can do something together. Whatever your version of that is, right? I'm just blurting at the moment. But if you did 3 of those a day, that's over 1,000 in a year. It is impossible that your messages you send out 3 times a day get worse every day for a year. It's not possible. Your messages have to improve by default. Do you see that? If you commit to doing the 3 a day, by default, the messages you send out as you're going along will improve because you're getting so consistent and solid at it. And if you send out 3 messages of connection to new people every single day, it is impossible. The numbers never lie. It is impossible that a percentage of that 1,000 plus people you've reached out to do not reply. It's just unless you are really sending out horrible messages, which, like I said, that's not possible for long. You might be the first week or 2 might be really lousy, horrible, crappy messages that don't get anyone's attention. They're not worth reading. They don't interest anybody. That might happen in the beginning because you don't know what you're doing. But if you do it badly for long enough, awareness, John said it, awareness, just be aware of what you're doing. Do it. Don't be scared of doing it. Do it badly for long enough, but do it. And do it over and over again. Do it badly for long enough with awareness of what you're doing so that you want to improve it. Guess what? Give yourself 2 weeks, give yourself 3, give yourself 4 if you're a slow learner. Guaranteed, if you read the message you sent on day 30, it'll be better than the message you sent on day one. It's anyone that's committed to growth, committed to improving, it's impossible to go backwards. Do you see that? If you apply the law of consistency. And there's Tony Robbins talks about it, CANI. Constant, that's the consistency, it's key, right? It's the first law. Constant and never ending improvement. It's a guaranteed win in anything. Constant and never ending. That means you never give up. It's just all of the messages are always the same, worded differently maybe. Constant and never ending. That means you're consistent and you never give up. Constant and never ending what? Improvement. Such a simple thing to do. Everyone can improve. Every human on the planet can improve. You can learn one new word a week, and in a year be 50% smarter than anyone else around you in vocabulary. Don't just learn random words that you're never going to use. Learn words that are relevant to your space, to your industry, to your game that you're playing, right? Make it relevant. Make your learning relevant. Can you see how simple it is? It's impossible not to be fluent in direct selling 12 months from now if you learn one new direct selling word every week for a year. You'd be 95% ahead of everybody else, or way ahead of the 95%, right? You'll be in the top 5% because nobody does that. That's why you'll be in the top 5%, because nobody else does that consistent and never-ending activity. Everybody does it in spurts. They do it when they feel like it. They do it on a Monday, but not on a Friday. They do it on the beginning of the month, not the end of the month. Whatever, everyone's got their patterns of behavior. And so awareness, know what your patterns are. Watch out for the tripwires. Watch out for where you trip yourself up, and just be committed. Be committed to be consistent, to never stop, and to keep improving. Tiny adjustments along the way, exactly how all of success is done. An airplane takes off at point A with a commitment to land at point B, and it is a well-known fact that it is off course 99% of the way. An airplane is off course 99% of the entire journey, and yet still lands exactly where it took off to land. Why? Because of the adjustments that are done throughout the entire journey. That's the key, consistency. You can't just say, oh, I've taken off now. Let me chill out. Hopefully the plane will get to where it's supposed to go to. We kind of went in approximately the right direction when it took off. It should be okay. No, it's never okay. The wind blows a little bit harder at some point. It blows softer than you thought it would at another point. The temperature changes somewhere differently, and the plane flies differently. It goes higher, it goes lower, altitude change. 1,000,001 things happen. If you don't keep an eye on stuff, and if you're not consistently improving it, guess what? You end up where you didn't want to be. Whether that's in the face of a mountain, crashed in a forest, middle of the sea, whatever it might be, but you'll end up somewhere else that you weren't planning on being. So decide where you want to be, take off, and then make the constant, consistent, never-ending improvements along the way. And that's what has you land where you want to land. It's a science, all of it, over and over again. Whoever you study, whoever you listen to, you will pick it up. Listen to this stuff, watch the stuff, read the stuff. It's everywhere, right? But you got to become that. You got to become that person for you. No one else. Don't do it for your upline. Don't do it for your downline. Don't do it for the company. Do it for you. This is what this is. Network marketing or direct selling, home-based business is for you to master the game. And then get from it what it offers you, what it offers anybody that is willing to do whatever it takes. Do it, do it, do it, and then do it again and again. It's not, the stuff you have to do is not difficult. It's just that you have to do it. What's difficult is that you have to do it. You have to make phone calls and invite people. You have to follow up people that you've invited. You have to train the people that you've brought in. You have to follow up with people that you brought in. You have to encourage and help and nurture them to do the same. That's where leadership kicks in. So you've got to grow for them to grow. You've got to grow for them so that they can grow. And when they grow, you grow more. And you're only a leader because people in your organization relate to you as one. Leadership doesn't exist anywhere other than in the agreement between the parties that make that agreement, right? It's a mental agreement. There's no such thing as a leader other than the agreement of people that want to follow your lead, all right? So you develop that over time by posture, by attitude, by declaration, and by behavior. So I hope you got loads from that. Thank you so much. We are once again done with time. I'm always super excited that I get to spend this time with fellow networkers around the world and explore and learn and grow together and move this army, this worldwide army of online entrepreneurs and offline entrepreneurs, so we can continue spreading the word. For me, one of the biggest shocks, even to this day, 28 years later, is such a small percentage of the population still understands this industry. It's just shocking. And I can't wait for the day to see that, this is taught as part of a curriculum in colleges and universities, just like natural. It's natural to go to school and be taught about building relationships, about building rapport, about communicating effectively, about influencing, about moving teams forward, about leading. I can't wait till this becomes normal in real education scenarios. That's my, love for this. That's what's possible, right? And I know it will happen, whether it happens in my lifetime or the next generation's lifetime, but at some point it's got to happen, because we're the only ones that make a difference, is people that lead, people that step up, and people that can get consistent about producing and being more effective in whatever it is that they're up to in the world. So thank you once again. It's always great being here. We're back here next Wednesday, same time, same place, same link. And it is our collective role and our collective responsibility to not just be here, but also keep spreading the word and bringing people we care about into the training space. So continue doing that, continue